now segue into our AI community conversation. And this is a part of a new series at Creative Mornings called Thriving Through Change. Thriving Through Change is kind of it's a new, more interactive series that the Charlotte chapter and a few of our other fellow chapters got together and helped design alongside Adobe. And it's meant to be more of an interactive conversation around AI's possibilities, challenges, and the roles we want it to play in our lives. The Thriving Through Change series, we anticipate that it'll happen once a year. In fact, I think the next one is going to be in May. So we'll do another one of these sorts of community conversations in May around a different topic. But this morning's is about AI. And we're really just hoping to have some meaningful conversations around the challenges that creative professionals are facing today. So huge shout out to Adobe for being kind of the driver behind this new innovative series. And we are super, super thrilled to have 7 folks that are going to sort of be the drivers of this conversation for us. And they all have different relationships to AI. So I'm going to introduce them one by one, bring them up to the stage here, and then we're going to tee up how this is going to work. So let me do that one by one here. First of all, we have Sydney Stern Miller. She is a corporate strategist, an author, an artist, a mother making corporate creativity more human. She's queer, neurodivergent, a first-gen gentle parent, and still becoming. So welcome up to the stage, Sydney. We also have Drew Burdick, who is the founder of StealthX, a high-velocity team of designers and strategists and engineers that help mid-sized companies build great experiences. Thank you, Drew, for being up here as well. I'm going to move over here as you all step into the space. Okay, next up we have Bart Kant. Bart is an AI consultant with a background in strategic consulting, focusing on financial services and the event industry. He helps optimize operations and experiences at concerts, sporting events, and conferences through practical AI solutions. Bart, thanks for joining us as well. Dr. Derek Wang is the founder of Talk, an AI-powered engagement platform for businesses and managing partner of DW Capital, a venture platform investing in vertical AI companies. Previously, he founded and scaled Stratified into a multinational customer experience analytics company serving Fortune 2000 brands. And he holds a PhD in computer science with 6 patents and contributions to Forbes. Thanks for being here with us, Derek. Appreciate you. All right, Oliver Lewis is a former robotics developer turned artist who creates interactive light-based public sculptures that merge science, sustainability, and play. Thank you so much, Oliver, for being here as well. Final 2, we have Elena Kachan, who is a marketing strategist, content creator, and Charlotte's biggest fan with 10 plus years of experience helping brands show up creatively and intentionally. She teaches marketers and creatives how to use AI in ways that feel human, brand aligned, and true to their voice, making their tech feel accessible and not overwhelming. Thanks, Elena, for being here as well. And last but certainly not least is Dr. Hamed Tabki. I should have asked you how to pronounce the last name. Say it for me. Tabki. Okay. We'll work on that later. But Dr. Hamed is an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at UNC Charlotte, our lead sponsor. Thank you so much to the 49ers. He's also the founder and director of the TechSbar. I'm not going to do that one right either. TechSar? Yes, I got it. TechSar lab, where he applies machine learning and data analytics to enhance community safety, health, and well-being through projects like AI for public safety and smart transportation. So here are our 7 AI panelists for the morning. Thank you again for being with us. Yeah, a round of applause for these guys, exactly.
Woo! These brave, creative souls.
So we're gonna do this in 3 parts. And we are gonna take a quick break in the middle to play a game as well. So, you know, it's not Creative Mornings without a game. So the first part is going to be a scale. It's going to be a scale that's basically a simple agree to disagree scale. And what we'll do is we're going to put a statement up on the screen For those of you who are near the front of the audience chamber here, you'll see that what's on the wall is actually also mirrored on the floor. So it is sort of immersive in that way. And we're going to put a 3-minute clock on the scrims on the side so that we can kind of keep this moving, because we have a lot of questions. We have about 9 questions we're going to try to dive into over the next little while here.
I'm sorry. I need to interrupt you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We did want Dr. Wang to say a few words. Oh, we wanted Drew.
Oh, that's right. Thank you so much. Oh, that is great. Thank you, Tim.
To level set our conversation.
Yeah, because, here's the thing. So we have a lot of opinions about AI. We have a lot of understanding or lack of understanding about AI, right? So we thought it would be a really smart, good idea for us to kind of level set in the room so that we're all kind of reading off the same sheet music here. So with that, what I'd like to do is hand it off. Do you have a microphone in your hand, Drew? You do. So Drew is going to do a quick sort of AI level set for us. Thank you for reminding me of that, Tim. Drew, the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. So one of the things that we wanted to, as Tim said, showcase was just what AI is, primer a little bit. And one of the things I think probably everybody's familiar with now is tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. But AI is not new. This has been something that's been around for about 70 years, since the 50s. And over the course of time, as you can see here, AI was coined in 1955. Then we had Deep Blue, IBM's Deep Blue, won against a chess grandmaster in 1997. And then all the way through to 2016, Google's AlphaGo wins the Go competition. And then ChatGPT was made public in 2022. So as you can see here, long history of AI, but it's become more and more prevalent and more talked about in the last few years because of generative AI, tools like ChatGPT. And so really what we wanted to also highlight was the fact that it's more than just ChatGPT. I think probably a lot of folks are using different tools in different ways, but there's a lot of other things, a lot of capabilities you may not be aware of. You might be aware of some of these, but not all of them. So language, that's the most common use. People use it for summarization, generating text, things like that. We've got vision, so computer vision, analyzing images and video to identify anomalies, different patterns in the data. Like medical imaging, there's a lot of really valuable use cases there. Speech and audio, it can generate voice and text. Actually, funny enough, on the way here, while I was driving to this, I was talking to AI, practicing this, and I'm totally butchering it right now. It's probably going to critique me afterwards. Just kidding. Predictive analytics, so helping identify and predict patterns that we as humans probably wouldn't catch or see. Personalization, this is one that you probably are familiar with, but maybe don't pay attention to as much, but it's been around for a while. Think about Netflix, Facebook, YouTube, right? It's serving you content that's based on your preferences, your behaviors, and it's learning as you're kind of using it. The other ones you can see on the board, one of the ones that I think is really kind of key to point out is generative media, which is, I think, a big concern, maybe, or question that a lot of creatives and artists have, right? Because now we have tools that can generate video and images and artwork and illustrations. And so, really, there's a lot that it can do, and it only continues to expand. Yesterday, GPT-5 came out, right, which was a pretty big advancement. I mean, kind of timely for our conversation today. So, in general, the exponential growth curve of AI is just insane, right? Like what we could do even 2-3 months ago and what we can do now is significantly more than even over the last several years. And one of the things that I think is important to highlight, you've got tools like ChatGPT that were some of the fastest growing in history, right? In 2 months, it went to 100 million users. And it only, it took Instagram 2.5 years to get there, which is a ubiquitous tool at this point. So that's kind of a primer for the conversation. We're really excited to talk about this, and ultimately we see this as kind of a tee up for creativity and the conversation, community conversation. So
thank you so much, Drew. No, that helps a ton. And I think it's important to point out that we're all going to have different opinions about AI, obviously. And so there's not going to be one right opinion in this room. We're not looking to sort of land on what the answer is. We're looking to sort of jumpstart the conversation and hopefully keep the conversation going as a community. And so with that, let's dive into our first question. And I would say, since we're going to do kind of 3 minutes per question, if we won't be able to hear from each of you with each question, but if you feel passionate about one of these questions that comes up, raise your hand. You'll be sharing a couple of mics up there, and we want to hear from you. And so with this first stage that we're going to do, this is essentially a simple agree to disagree spectrum that we're going to ask you to move along the playing board on. And we would urge you not to go in the middle. Find your way toward one side or the other, and we'll get that conversation going. So the first statement we're going to put up on the screen is, using AI tools for creative work diminishes human imagination and originality. So if you agree with that, come to this side of the board, and if you disagree, move to that side of the board. And now if you want to speak about this, say a few words about this, just raise your hand or hand the mic to the person that wants to say something about this. Using AI tools for creative work diminishes human imagination and originality. Okay, Oliver.
All right, testing. So, yeah, I agree that it does, because your mind is like a muscle, and if you don't use it, it just stops working. And this is the same thing. And this is one of the worries that I do have about AI, is that it's making things easy. And one thing I've learned in life, there's no free lunch. You have to work, and you have to work hard, and that's how you get ahead. And I just think that's the way it is. So
yeah.
I'm just gonna, again,
Sure.
There are no shortcuts. I agree with that. And I think that, again, this is a choice that we're making. So it doesn't have to diminish our creativity and our imagination, but if we allow it to, it will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go for it, Hamed.
So I kind of disagree with that. So as a part-time musician, I know enough about music, but if I wanna do arrangement or harmonize my music, it's gonna take so much time and energy from me. And sometimes, I didn't go Berklee College of Music. I don't have academic music education background, and these AI tools help me to express my emotion and feelings without, spending that much time and effort that I feel can empower a lot of younger kids and general public to focus on creation without going to all the difficulties that we have been experiencing in the last few centuries.
I forgot to mention in the bio that you're also a musician, in addition to being on faculty at UNC Charlotte. Yeah.
Sure.
Anybody else want to say anything about this one? Derek?
I think this one is actually, I was standing in the middle, because you're calling it a tool, right? Remember when we first got calculators, there's two educational systems. I grew up in China. Everybody needs to do the math ourselves. A lot of people here using Texas Instruments early on in their middle school, high school. It's not like we're all illiterate in math, right? It's a tool. It depends on how we use it, to your point. It's not about just unfathomed access to it, but more guided augmentation of using that. I would stand in the middle, actually.
He's defying us all and moving to the middle, folks.
I think there's a
Derek, I know you.
Yeah, I think there's a good point in here, especially,
Go ahead,
a couple
Sydney.
of us had mentioned, I already know how to do this thing. I'm going to outsource a piece of it. I'm thinking about it from my daughter. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and as much as, yes, I use AI. I'm not an anti-AI, but I know how to do some of those things, and I'm making a conscious decision about what I want to outsource because I already know how to do that thing. With my daughter, I'm thinking about it a little bit differently because she doesn't know how to do some of those things yet, so she automatically starts to outsource that. She'll never learn.
Yeah, got it. All right, so again, it may be frustrating on some level because we want to keep going deeper and deeper into these, but we're going to keep this moving on to other statements, and hopefully this will lead to more conversations later. So the next statement we're going to put up is, AI-assisted art is just as valuable as art made by humans alone. So put yourself somewhere on the spectrum between agree and disagree on AI-assisted art is just as valuable as art made by humans alone. Okay, so we have some shifting. All right, so who wants to say something about this? Handing it off to Bart.
Yeah, so I disagree because I think the cultural art or the cultural aspect of creating art is very valuable to me, and getting it replaced by computers is not as deep and as good experiential as done by humans. So I'm on this side for now.
All right, thank you, Bart. Yes, Elena.
I think this is where taste comes into play, because I do think that human taste matters a lot, and how you choose to express that is so important, and I don't want to lose that. So I'm kind of like inching towards the middle. But for example, a company that I was working with was using AI to generate a commercial, and they didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to go create this commercial and go film it. It was like literally in the middle of the water in the ocean. So AI was able to help them get there. I think AI is very useful behind the scenes too. So when sketches matter to like go craft something great, I think that's where it's important. But I'm like inching over here a little bit too, because I think taste and human touch is so important and can be replaced.
I should have mentioned that, hold on one second, Drew. These questions were all crowdsourced from you. Many of you filled out the survey that we sent out, and so every statement and question that we put up has come from the community, and we will open it up to the audience during the second half of this conversation as well. Drew.
So I think a key word in here is value, right? Like, what is value? So I actually questioned the question, but just in general, I think my stance is that as things get faster and easier to make, as it becomes commoditized, the stuff that people make with their hands, with their own minds, right, that has emotional resonance is going to matter more and be more valuable. So that's my belief.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you. Yeah, Sydney, did you have something?
Hamed, you haven't talked yet, please.
Hamed?
Well, I just want to say that I feel like we undermine human creation and creativity. Let's say, if you look at, again, my focus is on music, sorry, but if you look at electric guitar, it's just the electrification, that technology adds new sound. That acoustic guitar couldn't use it. So it's a technology augmented music already, and we all enjoy listening to rock music. So why we don't see that AI may enable human to do another level of creation that we were not able to do before? I feel like we should be open to that.
Derek.
Yeah, so I think to Drew's point, the question is, what is art, right? So think about DNA editing. That is art and science. You got all the researchers doing the DNA editing based on their pre-trained knowledge, but with AI, that's going to be supercharged 100, 1,000 times faster, more creative, and then it will benefiting us. So that is an art itself, right? And that's super valuable. I don't think anybody was going to disagree with that. So the definition is, what is art? That's going to be the front and center of it.
Thank you, Derek. Sydney, before we move on, you got something you want to put in?
AI art is like the La Croix of water. It's like the essence. It's like it's missing the soul. It's not the real flavor. It's not watermelon. But you're like, I can hint it. But I think
So
I
what
feel
about
that
Kirkland?
I feel that more and more. Like my best friend, my fiance, like they're big into astrology, and so it's really easy to outsource such a wide data set, right? 'Cause there's so much to know in astrology. But reading that astrology, the more I read from AI, the less interested I am in it, because it's the abundance scarcity. There's so much of it. It all kind of sounds the same. And so now I feel much more compelled to spend the money for someone who's spent a lifetime learning that thing.
So I hear that AI is the pamplemousse LaCroix is what I'm hearing. Okay, gotcha. Let's move on to our third statement. Artists and creative professionals who do not adopt AI tools risk becoming obsolete. Artists and creative professionals who do not adopt AI tools risk becoming obsolete. And we have some movement. I like how we haven't had the same collection of panelists so far, which I appreciate. Who would like to say something about this? Oliver.
No, I don't think that artists would become obsolete at all. And in my profession, most of the time it's the originality that's what people want. And abstract ideas. And everything I do that's made me money is not something that has been recreated currently with AI imagery or anything like that. And so it hasn't really made any threat at all. In fact, it's actually made me understand how to approach business a lot easier, because if I see a lot of AI going on somewhere, I tend to ignore that area because it's now super competitive. There's a whole bunch of people there. Or if you just go to Etsy right now, then you see there's a bunch of AI generated images. Why would I want to generate an image?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, got it. Yes, Elena.
I can add to the fact that it might just limit you if you don't understand how to use it or understand what the capabilities or possibilities can be. I don't necessarily think artists are going to become obsolete, but I do think that if you stay on top of what can be possible, I think you're way ahead of the game, and I think it just makes you more dynamic and impactful in that way. But I do think that there's going to be a shift in like proof of reality. Like, how did you come to this conclusion? And that behind the scenes is going to be more valuable than sometimes the work. Like, I'm proving to you that I did this myself and AI did not have a part in it. But knowing that you could have used AI is, I think, just a tool in your toolkit.
Proof of reality. Is that a phrase that's like starting to float around, or is that, because that sounds like it gets to the essence of the conversation here.
Yeah, I just read a Substack about it, so it's top of mind, but I do think that it's going to be so important. Like, Apple just did a trailer of them filming a really hard shot behind the scenes while the scene is being played. So they're showing you the behind the scenes while they're showing you the actual thing. And that was so powerful. It's kind of like, okay, we actually did this. We didn't cut any corners. We're actually making this happen with real humans. And I think that that might almost become more impactful than the work itself, just to kind of validate that, you know, we're not cutting any corners. Because I do think that there's a notion that if you use AI, you are cutting corners. And I don't want that to be the case, but it kind of is. So how do we balance that? I'm not sure, but.
Yeah, interesting. Derek.
Just echo
Yep.
her point, but to your Apple thing, did everybody realize the cameras on Apple is powered by AI chips? Every frame you make, every pixel colorization are determined and augmented by AI. So it's already everywhere.
How does that work, though? Because we're interacting with it, right? So, like, you're talking about on our cameras?
Video too. So when you take in every frame, it automatically enhance the depth, enhance the coloring, enhance everything. That's, unfortunately, it's not real on the picture as human real thing.
All right, Bart.
So there's a general statement in business technology that says you're not going to lose your job because of AI, but you're going to lose your job because there's other people that are going to use AI, right? So, and my theory is that's the same for artists, right? So if you're not adopting or experiencing with that technology, you run the risk that you're going to be outcompeted, outperformed by somebody else that knows how to use these tools.
Hamed, I see your hand up.
I kind of strongly disagree with that because I feel that there is still room for original artists that are not using any technology or AI. The same way that now we appreciate a handmade or handcrafted carpet, while we can use machines to make the same thing. And I don't see why we still cannot appreciate that part. So I'm not sure. In many technologies, I agree, or many businesses. But for art, I feel that regardless, there's always room for original artists that just do everything manual.
All right, so we are going to move on to our next scale. And this scale is basically a scale of impact on creative professionals, from extremely high impact to no impact. All right? So if you're going to be stage right over here where Derek is, this is going to be where no impact. And if it's going to be a lot of impact, you're going to move to the other side of the stage. And so the first statement is, AI will significantly change the skills required by future creative professionals. AI will significantly change the skills required by future creative professionals. Is there no impact or tons of impact? And it looks like many of you are moving over to staggering. Some of you still in the middle. Who wants to just sort of chime in on this idea?
Yeah, I'll chime in.
Okay, Oliver.
So I do public art, and I'm already seeing like the impact that AI is having in the arena of public art. And what I'm finding is that it's more of an engineering thing for me now than anything else. It's more like me, how I'm embracing my background in science and engineering. And when it comes down to embracing the actual artist I am, that's rarely required now. And so it's mainly me just trying to come up with good ideas, and the best way for me to do that is just take it from science and just build from there, and actually not use the talent that I have. It sounds kind of strange, but that's what's happening.
Got it. Who else wants to say something on this one? Yeah, Bart.
Yeah, we're already feeling it, and I look at it from a design perspective. Building websites, applications, right? The tools have become so good and so efficient that it's already impacting the people that have those UI, UX design skills, and they're being replaced by AI. There's no question about it. We're feeling it.
Sydney.
I was just going to say, I think we're in a big experiment right now, is what it feels like to me. Like we are the monkeys being tested on underground. We're not even aware of it. And I don't think we have any idea we're still in the experiment and we're talking about like the cart down the road. We're talking about like what are the symptoms that happen later. But we have no idea yet. We don't know if we're going to make it out. Hopefully we do. Hopefully we touch grass again. But I think this is going to look a lot different. We don't know. Yeah. No, that's fair. Derek, you had something you wanted to say.
Yeah, I think we're talking about all of this. Forget one thing is, I'm at least speaking for myself, I'm privileged to get to study and learning and education. What AI does, I don't know if anybody realized, it actually democratized that process to a whole number of demographics that may or may not have the opportunity or privilege to get trained in art, to go to SCAD, to go to anywhere that has professional. AI would empower them to get more and be more expressive to themselves. And that's where we need to look at not just the top, but more from the entire demographics. That's where I say we're already feeling it. Because my daughter can now look at things and say, hey, what if I create Paw Patrol and the other cartoons, combine them together? What does that look like in an instant, right? The imagination just got augmented that way. I think art will be benefiting from this.
Yeah, and I just want to piggyback off that because 3 years ago, I've been watching open calls, and one of the open calls for Blink Cincinnati, it's one of the biggest light art festivals in the country. They had a request for proposals when it comes to projection mapping. 3 years later, that application is a request for qualifications, mainly because they got inundated with so much AI content. Too many applicants, so they just went right back, are you qualified to do this?
Got it. All right, well, how about this statement here? AI-driven tools will disrupt traditional artistic education and the ways we teach and reward creativity. AI-driven tools will disrupt traditional artistic education and the ways we teach and reward creativity. Yeah, it looks like everyone's kind of on the same page on this one. Who has something they want to say about this?
I can give a real-life example that I've been pondering about. My daughter, she's 6. She is not a great singer. Sorry if anyone's recording this and she sees it later. But she really loves singing, and we have a lot of fun, and we sing a lot in the car. And there's now a tool out there where you can record your voice, and you can have it sing any song, perfect pitch. And it's so cool to hear her do that, and it's so beautiful. And it also makes me really sad for her, because if she can already see what perfect looks like, why on earth would she ever try? Or why is she going to continue singing if it doesn't sound like that? So I do think it's going to change a lot.
That's a powerful example for sure. Who else has something they want to say about this? Drew?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people use AI as kind of this task admin type tool. And the ones that are really kind of using it as a collaborator, and like I mentioned, driving in this morning, I'm talking about what I was going to say, and it's critiquing me, right? Helping me learn and grow and improve as an orator and stuff like that. And I think that's going to accelerate the people who lean in, right? It's already doing that, right? If you're using these tools to challenge your thought process, challenge your creative process, learn new skills. You can use, GPT-5, deep research, you can search any topic in the corpus of human knowledge and learn it, which is crazy, right? So the fact that before you had the relegated few who had the resources to be able to pay for education, pay for, like you mentioned, SCAD, right? All these different organizations that go to school and learn these things, that's all available to anyone. It doesn't really, it's not hard to get access to the knowledge now, unlike it was even 2 years ago.
Thank you. Yes, Hamed.
Thank you. I feel that we also need to understand how these AI systems work. Basically, they are a statistical model of the data set or training set. So whatever they generate is collectively all the knowledge or art that has been created before. So still, this AI system, as we are talking, even GPT-5, has problem to create new knowledge. We are not there. We are hoping one day, hopefully, we can get there. And let's say for science, it can cure cancer, hopefully. We still don't know yet. Or discover new laws of physics, but they are not able to do that yet. Same goes for creation. So still, there is, I feel like while artists need to use it, but at the same time, I feel like it may even help to really, truly appreciate new form of creation, because even most advanced AI system cannot come up with that, because they just reproduce what they have been trained for.
About 45 seconds left on this statement. Anyone else have something that they want to say?
I can say
Sydney?
something about rewarding creativity, and I know that that means different things to different people. Some it's going to be financial, but I do think there's something really interesting happen with addictive behavior, where we're defaulting to going to AI for dopamine hits to validate ourselves, to feel seen, and what's going to happen over time is it's going to be hard, like true art, right? We all know artists struggle. There's a struggle in it because that's how you get better. You have to sit in the discomfort and you have to get uncomfortable. And with AI, that really skips that step. And so I wonder what is going to happen over time if we don't allow ourselves to kind of be present and sit in the discomfort.
Wow. All right, we are going to take a quick break. So what I want our panelists to do is line back up in your original position, all right? Because we're going to play a quick game with you guys. This is our version of a 7th inning stretch, okay? And by the way, we do have waters over here. If anyone needs a water, just come grab it. All right. So this is our version of the 7th inning stretch. We're going to put a question about pop culture robots up on the screen, and if you think you know the answer to who dat robot, run up and ring the bell, okay? The first one to ring the bell gets to answer, all right? We do have great prizes on the line, by the way, for our panelists. So here we go. And you got some nice hints on the scrim sides here. So here we go. Pop culture robots over the last 100 years. Question 1, we were introduced to this dancing cybernetic sensation in 2022. What is her name? Is it Sarah, Megan, or Karen? Okay, Oliver.
Megan?
Megan is correct. Yes, you are on the board, my friend. All right, next question. What is the name of this adorable robot from 2015's The Force Awakens? Is it Bali, Rolo, or BB-8?
BB-8.
All right there, Drew, you're on it. He didn't even need the options. All right, going into the 2000s now, what is the name of this Wally's love interest? Yeah, oh, here we go.
Eve?
It is Eve, yes, that is right. All right, y'all, we're going back into the 1990s. We're going back in time here. Show us the hand gesture that the T-800 gave right before he was destroyed at the end of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. There was a hand step up and do this, Sydney.
You get it.
Yes, it was the thumbs up. That's right, it was a thumbs up. Okay. All right, here we go, a few more. What was the catchphrase of the protagonist robot from Short Circuit? Was it A, number 5 is alive, B, Johnny 5 is alive, or C, I got a pocket full of quarters and I'm heading to the arcade? The catchphrase of the protagonist from Short Circuit. No one? No one? Is it number 5 alive, Johnny 5? Go for it.
B?
It is not B, I'm afraid, but you're close. So if anyone else would like to take a quick guess, go on, Oliver.
A.
It is A, yes, it is number 5 alive. Number 5 is alive. All right. What's the name of the Jetsons robot maid? Is it A, Rosie, B, Roberta, or C, Roomba?
Rosie.
It is, indeed, it is not Roomba, it is Rosie. That is correct.
Quick trivia note, Roberta is the name of Richie Rich's
Oh, Richie Rich's robot was Roberta. Wow. Okay. All right. All right, let's just do the tiebreaker for fun, all right? Audiences around the world marveled at Maria, the robot in the silent movie Metropolis, in what year? What year? Does anyone want to guess what year that movie Metropolis came out?
Hey, GPT, what year did...
Well, it was 1927. I'm going to go ahead and just give you the answer. It was 1927. Tim, can you grab the bags that are sitting over there? And just to show them what they're getting, these are gifts from our friends at CRVA. It is a Charlotte swag bag. It's got like, did I even say swag right? It's got a Charlotte hat in there. It's got a travel mug. It's got socks, Charlotte socks. I mean, you know, y'all are going to be hooked up, so we'll give you those later. All right, let's move on to our final round, and we really want to bring the audience in to this one. So we're going to do maybe a little bit more, possibly upwards of 5 minutes per question.
Yeah.
And
I'll be out in the audience with the mic.
Tim will be out in the audience with the mic. And if someone in the audience has something they want to say that's maybe not already being covered by the panelists, put your hand up. We want to hear your voice. Remember, all these questions came from the community in the first place. So this is going to be two statements that are not polar opposites, right? It's just two statements. And we're asking you to choose a statement that you feel more drawn to, okay? So this is not one side and the other side, polar opposites. It's just two statements that maybe sort of resonate with each other. So, idea one or idea two. And the first two are this. AI helps artists produce work faster, and AI reduces the time artists need for meaningful reflection. So choose one of those statements that you just feel more drawn to, and we want to hear from you. And we also want to hear from the audience as well. So looks like everyone's kind of moving over to AI helps artists produce work faster. Okay, who wants to say something about that statement?
I can start.
Oh, Sydney's over there, though. My gosh, it's so dark that I didn't even see you over there. Sydney's over there. Let's hear from you.
So I think brain rot is a common term right now. It's happening a lot. It's a lot of the YouTube videos, you're watching something, you're not interacting with it, and then you're automatically moving on to the next thing, and that's where we see cognitive decline. There's an MIT research study. It should surprise no one. If you outsource the work, you're not going to learn how to do the work yourself. And so I use AI a lot, but I try to intentionally take time to, one, answer the question myself first. So I think before I go out and ask. And then if I do use AI for research, which I do a lot, I use it a lot for therapy with my daughter, and learning how she's growing, and I take the time to journal and write it down after, so I actually retain the information. So I think it does do this, and it's not a good thing.
Nice, got it. Okay, yes, Oliver, and then Hamed.
Just real quick. So when I apply to an open call, they always ask, "What's your bio? Give us a little bit, some information, whatever question." And there's always a limit, like 500 words, 400 words. And each one's different. And I got to a point where I just drop in my basic bio and I just summarize this, 400 words, and it just gets it done, and so I can get that application out. So yeah. I love that part.
Makes sense. Hamed, you're next.
Yeah, I actually like to say that I disagree with that statement. I feel that AI should encourage all artists and all of us to have a deeper reflection of who we are as humans. And I feel like the reason that our generation has a disconnect because we have not gone through the AI training and education. I actually believe that AI needs to be introduced like math, chemistry at early education, and that's what we actually try to do at UNC Charlotte summer camps, AI for All program. So this AI system are based on neural networks, that those neurons and their connectivity inspired by human brains. So they are trying to mimic in an artificial way what we do biologically. So understanding the science of intelligence and how intelligence can be produced artificially, I feel that can actually give us a deeper understanding of who we are as a human. And hopefully the new generation, when they have those early educations, they would have a very different perspective.
Elena.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I'm guilty of this because I think we're all obsessed with being fast and efficient. And there's so many facets of every career and role, but I do think that if you can get things done faster that you're not great at, it's okay to like know that that's not your strength, but you've just knocked that out of the way, similar to your application example. But then I think it could give you more time back to reflect. I wish I was better at this, because we are obsessed with being efficient, and it's like, okay, I got that done 10 times faster than I normally would have. So let me go to the next thing that I have to get done. But I do want to make space for more reflection, because I was able to accomplish this in less time.
I can relate to that, because I went to a doctor's appointment with a family member recently, and what I did is when I was in the doctor's appointment, I recorded the conversation with the doctor. Then I uploaded it to an AI platform that was a transcription platform. It transcribed it very accurately. I then uploaded the transcription into Claude and said, please summarize this conversation, and it spit out a 2-page perfect summary of the conversation that we were able to share with the other doctors on the team. And it would have taken me hours and hours and hours to do that. And I was able to take that time and put it toward what I would consider, I don't know, more reflection, more other things that actually need my brain or my heart, versus me trying to, interpret what the doctor said. So it was pretty amazing.
It's such a relief to feel that brain space being, I don't know, it's just such a relief knowing that like, oh, I didn't have to spend so much time on that.
If you have a question or a comment in the audience, I'm gonna go ahead and, I'm gonna hear from this person first. Here we go.
Hi, so this is responding kind of to Dr. Ahmed. I think we're all talking about this as humans who grew up in the world and learned how to think critically and, we're all creative people here, so we all are like thinkers and reflectors. But I think when we introduce this to children, if we're not spending an equal or greater amount of time training their ability to ask good questions and reflect and think deeply, I think we risk bypassing all of that for them and outsourcing it to this AI, and they lose that.
Matt, do we have time for one more?
Yeah, no, I think, we have a little bit of breathing room, so we're going to hear from a couple people here, but if anyone wants to respond to that while we're going to the next person.
I've got several someones.
Yep.
So.
Hello, so we've talked a lot about how the technology helps with creative thinking, how it helps speed things up, but I think one thing that as a whole in society that we've only just started talking about is what responsibility we have as individuals. Because as a creative, yes, AI is a tool. It's something I both fear and embrace simultaneously, but just like with cell phones, that even now there are numerous people in this room are glued to them, and this has been something that has been going on well before ChatGPT and AI. It comes down to human responsibility and how we utilize those things, how we choose to either become addicted to it or we learn to teach not only ourselves but our children and future generations how to utilize it without, for example, ruining our communication skills with one another and ruining our creative skills.
Anybody want to say something to that before we hear another audience comment?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Okay, go for it.
I have, I think a lot of us are parents here, 2 kids. Think about this all day. Honestly, like the rate that the stuff is accelerating, and like how do I make sure that I'm teaching my kids human skills, right? Like how to talk to people. I mean, they just went through COVID, right? Which is a whole other thing. And what's funny is I remember, so I'm 38, and I remember when I was a kid, I'd play the original Nintendo, and my dad would be like, "It's gonna rot your brain." Well, now I'm working in design technology, and it helped me learn and grow, right? And those things that I learned when I was a young child helped me where I am now. And so I feel like you could kind of like weigh it, but it ultimately comes down to each individual person and their decision of like, how are you gonna use the tool, and how are you gonna make sure that you're not gonna like just outsource your brain to AI, right?
All right, one more comment, and then we're gonna move on to the next statement.
Good morning. So I'm gonna tell you, I sit in a few different spaces in this conversation. One, because as a creative, like as you just mentioned, right now the medium is AI. But if you were to tell Gordon Parks that you shot digitally, I'm sure he'd look at you crazy, or that you use Photoshop. So there's always something to disrupt or enhance the creative process. However, I do think AI will draw a line in the sand between more art and more commission. Just because you use energy regardless. So whether that is art for pay or art for desire, I think, you know, the faster, more work-based creativity will come from AI, but the art you create, you can't help to do that. You have to do that. That's something burning. There are no shortcuts in that process. But I'm also black. So, and I've been in spaces where art is defined by perceived intellect. So, you know, even if you are a master artist, you aren't given that distinction because of what your associations are. So I understand, and I don't want to project that to someone else being creative. However, I do also trust integrity and the stories that comes from creating art. That's really what we want, the story that I believe will separate it all.
Hey, Matt.
Thank you, Winston. Yep.
Oh, sorry. Elena has a response, and then I just...
Yeah, go for it, Elena.
I love that you touched on 3 different things, but I also think that this is why we're here, is like showing up face to face. You being the unique human that you are with your unique experiences. That's why it's so important to talk about them, because I do think that things can get lost. And if you don't know anybody who does X, Y, and Z, you might gravitate towards an AI product. But like, if I know you as the artist and I respect you and I respect your experience and I've gotten to know you via social media or in person, I think that's gonna carry a lot more weight. And I think we're even seeing that with founder-led brands who are actually showcasing like the why and the how they started and the experience that they've had, the education that they've had, because that's so valued now that I think it's still gonna land. Like, I think just, and I encourage everybody to just talk about their experiences, whether that's online or talk with your friends, get together, hang out. I don't wanna lose that human touch, because that's what's gonna get you jobs as well. Like, AI might get you there faster, but I do think that human taste and creativity is still gonna land.
I'm going to throw another
Hang on, Matt.
Yep.
Before we do the next 2 questions, there's a perspective in the room, just I think will help add to them.
Great.
Hi, as the Gen Z representation, because there's not much in here and everyone keeps talking about kids and the younger generation. I'm currently in college, and I feel like AI runs everything. Like, I try my absolute hardest not to use it because I have great creative representation in my household, but everything is powered through AI. Nothing's like done by ourselves anymore. I have a thing where like I'll write all my notes and it turns into a podcast for me. So that helps me learn a lot, but I definitely feel like when I'm in the classroom, I'm retaining a lot less because my attention span is so much shorter due to shortcuts with AI and like technology.
Thank you for sharing that perspective. All right, here are the next 2 statements. Yeah, that's right. AI increases artistic potential and accessibility, or AI dilutes what makes art uniquely human. Again, related, unrelated, whatever, but find your way toward one of those statements that you feel more drawn to. And if there's something you want to say about one of those statements, just dive in. And then we're going to keep our eye on the audience as well. I see a hand over here, too. So, yeah, Sydney, you got something?
Start. So, AI increases artistic potential and accessibility. Accessibility is a big one for me because I do think that there's so many things that are available now that allow people who maybe can't do a certain type of art or haven't had the background in it, bring things to life that they haven't before, and there's something really, really beautiful in that.
Yeah, I'm in the same opinion, and I'll just talk about my experience with my daughter who has a handicap, right? So she cannot type because of cerebral palsy, but now she has tools on her computer that she can talk to her computer, and she now has the skills to communicate in that medium where previously she didn't have the tools or the capabilities. So,
yeah, I'm in between kind of because that side I definitely see a lot happening, and on this side I also see more of this going on because again I call it the etification of art. It's so many people with AI are just entering into the arena. You got YouTubers saying, hey, here's this hustle thing. You do this, you make $1,000 a week. And then like everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna do that. And so they start putting all their AI generated stuff online, thinking that, you know, it's gonna mean anything, and it doesn't. It's just a bunch of nonsense. And then also that makes it harder for artists like myself to be noticed, since it's just a massive flood of just generated content. And then it just, now I have to try harder just to be seen.
We have a comment over here.
Yes. I look up here and I'm like really inspired by you, by all of you. You're kind of this stoic leadership in our local community, also the creative industry, and of course AI. Denmark just made its citizens able to copyright their personal identifiable information, like faces, voices. And I'm wondering, as far as like, you know, America is a completely different model. We live in capitalism. The excitement grows with consequences being, you know, looked at later. So how will our artistic, our intellectual rights and information and like our art be protected moving forward? And more importantly, I guess that's such an open-ended question. I'm more interested in what you guys are willing to do or kind of thinking about moving forward in protecting our creative communities.
Yeah, so I already started looking into this. The one thing I found is trademark. So there's something I do called mazing shadows, in which there's these lanterns and they project a maze of shadows on the ground. And so I'm trying to get a trademark on mazing shadows. And what I found when it comes to trademark, it has a lot more teeth than copyright. Because that means any type of derivative in the trade of art that someone tries to do that mimics that name, I can sue them. So they said shadow maze, they can't do that. And so that gives me much broader intellectual property rights than copyright has done. And I've had copywritten images. I used to take photographs of four-leaf clovers because I'm really good at finding four-leaf clovers, and I used to put them on Shutterstock and Getty Images. I used to get a small royalty check for that. Now I don't. So.
Also, hold your politicians and our governments accountable for putting in regulations to manage this stuff. So Denmark just implemented the copyright, which is incredible, but we all know that the US we're thinking about short-term gains. And so their vote, everyone needs to vote. There's a primary election coming up on September 4th. The general election is on November 9th, November 4th and September 9th. Write your politicians, use AI to write your politicians, right? Like, do that. Like, I just used it to write Tom Tillis because I didn't like one of the decisions he made. So, like, I gave it my information. I wrote a very professional email, but hold people accountable to keep us safe. Because we can do so much, but we need the government to do that too.
We have a comment over here.
Yeah, mine's kind of the opposite side of his question. So not so much about protecting ourselves as artists, but acting ethically when we're using these tools. So protecting our fellow artists, so not inadvertently stealing from our fellow artists. Also thinking about the environmental impact. I think it was San Antonio that just announced that 463 million gallons of water used while they're in the middle of a drought and people can't use water themselves. So how do we reconcile that? How do we act ethically while we use these tools to create our own art?
Any panelists want to weigh in on that really tricky point?
There's no one answer.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not really a great answer, honestly. Like, I think everybody's still trying to figure it out. One thing I just wanted to throw out there, just in the way of art, you mentioned like protection, or like how do we, I think this stuff, like leaning into the in-person is going to be really important, right? Like, we have a epidemic of loneliness right now where there's this just deluge of content and stuff coming at us all day, every day, and then we just all lived through a pandemic, right? And so I think really focusing and investing in local communities and in-person relationships is going to be the thing that separates people, frankly.
I'm going to throw the last two statements up. I know we can dive in there, but I'm going to throw the last two statements up while we finish up our final comments as a community here. Technology allows more diverse voices into art, or AI gives an advantage to those already skilled in technology. So if you feel drawn to one of those, to speak to one of those statements, go ahead and find your way on the board. and let's hear what you have to say. But also, we have a few more minutes to hear from the audience as well.
And we can't stand in the middle, right?
Well, as you'll see on the flip, we actually have a little note here. It's upside down on the wall, but on the floor, the panelists can read it. Yes, you really have to lean one way or the other. No cheating. That's right. That's true. So who
Can't
wants to
define
say
me.
something about this? Bart, looks like you might be getting ready.
Yeah, I think having a basic knowledge or an intermediate knowledge of technology is absolutely critical, right? So it's going to advance your skills by applying the AI on top of your kind of understanding of how the technology works. You see it in my field, in computer science. You have now this whole exploration of vibe coders that are coming in and saying, I'm using AI to build all of these applications, but they don't have the basic skills of technology, and so they get exposed, very, very quickly because their applications are not safe. They have lots of security, threats. So having a good understanding of, the technology that underlies it is going to really be advantageous to people.
Oliver, I feel like you have to go because you changed your mind. You have to go.
So I agree with that. Technology does create more diversity in the arts, but having skills in technology that really matters, because even though I'm not using AI in any of my work, I'm still preparing my business for it. So I'm designing a custom computer that can run these AI models, and even though I know at some point the laws are going to be established, and so I can know what I should be able to do, and at that time I'll be ready for it. But I can build that computer, and I do have enough background in technology and coding that I can start building my own systems out. So,
Elena, you had something?
I think that experience does set you apart and gives you a level of advancement that maybe new beginners don't have. But I do think that this is allowing for accessibility across all gaps of intergenerational, class gaps. I think that just having the access can propel you way farther than maybe you don't have access to education, or you can learn anything you want. So I think you could get to a good place and then have an expert maybe help take you to the finish line, similar to what you mentioned. I think that's super important, but I do think the accessibility and the low barrier to entry is super great for diversity.
Can I add just a real quick? I think to build on what she's saying, we're already seeing a significant amount of businesses and individuals be able to do things that previously you had to raise millions and millions of dollars to do, and you can do it as a solo, independent, freelancer, founder. And I think that's pretty amazing to watch what people are able to do now because of these tools. They're not having to go and raise capital. They're not having to get grants. They're not having to get funding. They can just go, which is pretty amazing. So it's raising the opportunity for more people to do these things.
Hamed, did you have something too that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I'd like to add something related to the last question, which is also related to this, is that while it provides access to general artists, the danger I see in art is that as you start using these AI tools, because of the better access, you are sharing your information with them, and they're going to use those information to train the next generation of better AI. That's why they are so cheap compared to the amount of energy they need to operate. So one model that we are trying to pursue, at least in UNC Charlotte and research labs, is, and we are trying to work with the small businesses, but I can see that can be used for artists as well, that people have their own local AI system that sits within their own physical environment without the need for sharing the information with OpenAI or Gemini. And in this way, I am hoping that while we are providing the access, we also have much better level of protection beyond privacy, also intellectual property. I feel like talking about democratization of AI, I feel like down the road, it means that even the AI hardware, AI processors also all going to be hopefully decentralized, and we would have our own local AI. I feel like that's the only way I see we can protect artists and general public, but at the same time benefits from all good things that may come with AI.
We got, Derek, you got something?
Yeah, just a quick example. Our donation to Children's Theater, that's really a good echo of this. So think about us all speak fluent English, but there's the Broadway show was really made in English, but then you have Hispanic community going to the children's theater. They sit there, they don't quite understand what it is. However, we're developing a tool for them to say, in real-time translation of what that actor or actress were playing and demonstrating on the stage, on their iPad, into Spanish language, synchronized with the lighting, synchronized with their audio systems. That's where AI giving more access, right? Again, at the end of the day, it's what we're gonna use the tool for. It's not what, that tool is central, it's neutral. There's no left or right. It's how we put that into work and what are the demographics we're trying to help.
I think we have time for one more audience question here, so I'm going to hand it off.
I'm really enjoying the conversation today and how we can use AI as a tool, and we're encompassing art as into one big form. I come from a performance background, and I taught children's theater, and I can see how those tools will be very effective in helping the audience member. But when I'm looking at it as how I can implement it for something that I would use, I am a comedian. I am not going to take AI and generate my material because it would be lacking my observational skills, my emotional skills, how I deal with the public, and my lived experiences. I can see it as a tool, but as a live performance artist, I would need more convincing as to, do I need to use that at all? Or why would I? Does that make sense?
Any comments on that from the panelists? Maybe it's a test audience. You could test your jokes out on AI and see if AI thinks it's funny.
Yeah, I think for performance arts and specifically kind of like communicating verbally, I think that you could use it as a practice, right? Like test your jokes, right? And get critique. I know, and it maybe seems a little weird, but honestly, like using it as a collaborator to just help you test ideas is a really great way to use the tool. In addition, I think it's going to be interesting to watch as you move forward, like how does performing arts move into like different formats, right? Like we're in this experiential environment right now. Like when we start to get into augmented reality type stuff, like how's that going to be, right? And how are you going to be communicating with audiences that are not necessarily physically in front of you? It'll be interesting. But anyway, I think near term, the practicing and like collaborating to refine is, I think, the opportunity.
Elena, do you want the final note here?
Oh, final note. I am a social media pro, so I do think that like we all should be at least putting ourselves out there online because I think it's so accessible. But you could use, I mean, if you're filming any of your stand-up routines and plug it into a tool and it can kind of cut your best jokes and leverage them for micro clips on social media, which is nice because that's promo, that's top of funnel. People who have never heard you before, they might be able to see you just kind of as they casually scroll. AI makes that super easy. So that's just one example of how you could maybe leverage video specifically.
Folks, we could do this all day long, but let's give it up for Elena, Hamed, Drew, Derek, Sydney, Bart, and Oliver, our AI panelists today. Just getting started, obviously. A few final notes for you. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, the Charlotte is Creative Podcast, on the Queen City Podcast Network, as we'd like to dive deeper into some of these topics on that podcast as well. Want to really thank our volunteers. Thank you so much to our volunteers, including our friends from Ally. Very, very grateful that they help us pull these events off. If you want to join our volunteer team, say hi to Kevin Washington right there, and he can get you on the list. If you want an event like this that's like breaks the mold and gets your people excited and engaged, just reach out to us. Tim's got his hand up. What do you got?
Yeah, I've got two final notes. The first thing is, after, like 60 seconds when this is over, UNC Charlotte has a table and a representative from their School of Data Science over that way, directly that way. So if you have any questions, things that were stirred up today, they'd love to talk to you about that. And then I'd be remiss if I said that if you are interested in seeing Monopoly life-sized and getting, going and seeing a little bit of it, Bree is pointing towards a door, and you are welcome. It's in the back of the room. You're welcome to go and explore before you leave.
We're really grateful to our sponsors, to Bloom Studios for hosting us, and of course to Steve Whitby for those beautiful slides, man. You
Steve-o.
really knocked it out of the park today. We love you. Our next event is September 5th at Project 658, featuring Brian LaFontaine as a speaker on the theme of Blossom. So that's going to be kind of back to our normal format. But we love y'all. Thanks so much for being here, and let's keep the conversation going because it's a big
Bloom
one.
Studios.
Thanks, panelists.